Well, it's a good question because, you know, and I'll sort of refer to the UN Secretary General, who gave a very important report recently on the state of the planet, which you may or may not have seen. But in that address, he said that the planet is broken. He said that humanity is waging a war on nature. And the statistics are alarming. You know, when in UNEP we talk about the triple planetary crisis that we're facing with respect to climate change, pollution, and nature. So in nature, we've lost an unprecedented number of species. Around 1 million out of the known 7.8 million species are on the brink of extinction. When it comes to pollution, marine litter is choking our oceans, and we have very significant overfishing challenges. And then in climate change, as you know, as almost every citizen of the world knows, that we are in a perilous state, and emissions are 60 or 62% higher now than what they were when we signed the Convention on Climate Change back in the early 90s. So that's the bad news. The good news, I think, is that there are some positive signs, and that things can be turned around. You know, on climate, countries and businesses are increasingly accelerating their commitments towards a cleaner future. There is the Net Zero Club, where hundreds of businesses in many countries now have committed to net zero emissions by 2050, and many have committed to sooner targets. We're also, and this is what I'm particularly excited in as a lawyer, I think we're seeing a rapid shift in citizens understanding their right, their human right to a healthy environment. Over 80% of all countries around the world have the human right to an environment hardwired into their domestic legal system, and citizens are standing up and exercising those rights. Is a very interesting proposal that was released in the last week on proposing a crime of ecocide.
Okay.
And the proposal is to amend something called the Rome Statute for the International Criminal Court. It's the instrument that established this court in the Netherlands, in The Hague, to create a fifth international criminal crime that would sit alongside the other major crimes that the ICC currently has jurisdiction for: genocide, crimes against humanity, etc. So that's a a very interesting proposal. It's not law yet. It's just a proposal. It was put together. It's been around for some time as an idea, but it was put together by a panel of 12 very respected international criminal and environmental lawyers have come up with a proposal. It now needs to be formally proposed and considered by countries who are the state parties to the International Criminal Court. But if they do that, then it would be quite a significant step in reforming how we think about even international criminal law. It would be the first time that the court would have jurisdiction over acts against the environment, not just acts against humans.
So when do you expect, do you have a timeline? When do we expect this proposed law or criminal, whatever law to be passed Do you have any timeline for the process of getting this law into the public domain?
It will really depend on the appetite of states, of countries. Making international laws is not quick. It does take time. There is a formal process, but so it would be impossible to put a timeline on it, other than to say the idea is a compelling one that many NGOs and commentators have welcomed. But really now it's up to countries to take it forward if they want to.
So you are here to speak to countries?
So we, UNEP, are not in the driving seat of this law. This is, as I mentioned, a proposal put together by a panel of private individuals. It was commissioned, the work was commissioned by an NGO called the 𝗨𝗡𝗘𝗣 Foundation. And it will really be a case of whether a member state or group of member states that are parties to the International Criminal Court. So this is a body that sits outside of UNEP. It's got no institutional relationship with UNEP in that sense. It sits in the Netherlands, and there are parties to the Rome Statute that established that convention. They need to meet and decide, do they want to take this forward formally.